Hi everyone, it's Quickie Baby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we've got the pleasure of watching Zerlink playing in the Tier 8 Preferential Premium Matchmaking Tier 8 German Tank Destroyer. It is the Jagdtiger 88. Haven't featured this vehicle on the channel in 4 years because I think 4 years is about the time that it takes somebody to actually have a good game in this tank, right? Yeah, well, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but I have to admit, this vehicle for me personally, not my kind of tank. Now, when I first played World of Tanks, as you most likely will know, what's the first tank that I went for? Of course, it was the Tiger. The Tiger. I think that's probably quite cliche. In fact, I know it is, because when I ask a lot of you in Tankfest what you want me to play more of, it is, of course, the Tiger. The Jagdtiger, on the other hand, cumbersome, never really been a vehicle that has the flexibility to be able to defend against multiple scenarios, and importantly, unlike its bigger brother at Tier 9, the standard Jagdtiger, this vehicle doesn't really pack a large caliber gun. It's unusual though, because of course, you knowing that I like vehicles like the Comet with their great rate of fire and high damage per minute, you think that I would also enjoy having an 88mm at Tier 8 with a whopping rate of fire that you can get on the Jagdtiger. But yeah, it's just never really been my thing. However, Zerlink is going to show his prowess in this fearsome beast. Now, the Jagdtiger 88 was buffed in Update 1.2, along with pretty much all of the other preferential matchmaking tanks, because Wargaming simply, I guess, didn't find a way to be able to fix the template system last year, or alternatively just find a way to force preferential matchmaking tanks to at least meet Tier 7s when they meet Tier 9s and not get stuck in those 5-10 matchups against Tier 9 tanks and Tier 8 vehicles, because really they're balanced against Tier 7.5. Anyway, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on what the buffs were to the Jagdtiger 88. Firstly, its already rather impressive damage per minute was amplified. It is now sitting at 2,823 damage per minute. That went up from 2,666, and that's because the rate of fire increased by 0.6 rounds a minute. This thing now fires just under 12 rounds a minute base, and of course, when you put a gun rammer, crew skills, if you do fancy using chocolate on this tank, you're probably going to burn quite a lot, but at least you're going to have an even more impressive damage per minute for it. Now, I personally wouldn't use chocolate on this vehicle. I think it has to use at least a repair kit, probably a large repair kit as well, because if you get tracked, it's all over for you in this tank. It's so easy to be able to track and also damage this tank from the side. Right here, that's a kill shot and the track. From here as well, obviously from the other sides, it's just absolutely awful, which is why I quite often like to take 2 repair kits in vehicles such as this. Maybe taking a super heavy spall liner to drop the med kit could work out if you absolutely, utterly have to take chocolate in this tank, but then you'll be having to drop a fire extinguisher. And you won't be able to make use of the impressive hit point pool that this tank now has at 1,500. It's gone up from, I think, 1,300 that this vehicle used to have in Update 1.1. Now, 1,500 hit points on a tank destroyer at Tier 8 is rather nice. Wargaming have obviously changed that. It used to always be the case back in the day that tank destroyers, at least up until Tier 9, had significantly less hit points than their medium tank and heavy tank counterparts. Think about the ISU 152, for example. I believe that vehicle had 1,010 hit points right up until several patches ago, where they reduced the penetration on its BL-10 gun from 286 down to 260, and then they increased the hit points up to 1,200, which kind of makes it a lot more resilient. Now, the Jagdtiger 88, there's no problem with this tank really having high hit points, because it needs to be able to weather the storm, because it's cumbersome. It doesn't really have the best armor, at least in matchups like this, and also matchups where it has to meet Tier 9 tanks, and with the amount of premium rounds that are fired at it, yeah, its armor doesn't really hold up. And so those hit points are quite often the difference between it managing to put that extra round in to be able to secure at least a couple of kills in the game, or just getting a whitewash and going back to the garage. Now, Wargaming also buffed the aim time of the Jagdtiger 88 all the way up to 1.8 from 2 seconds. They also increased the traverse speed, and this was massive actually. They increased the tank traverse by 6 degrees, from 26 up to 32, which has changed its effective traverse speed at base without an exceptionally skilled driver from 24 degrees a second, well, just under 25 degrees a second, to under 30.5 degrees a second. That's a massive increase, and on soft, you're pretty much about 25% better traverse speed on this vehicle. So it's actually much, much harder to be able to out-traverse a Jagdtiger and try and get around its side if you're in a heavy tank. Right up until before 1.2, these things were probably one of the biggest, tastiest snacks I think I could possibly see on the enemy team. And now, even though they've got more hit points, and so when you do finally manage to get your hands on one, you've got more hit points to feast upon, it's actually quite harder to be able, well, much harder to be able to lock them in place because of that traverse speed increase. Alright, so Jagdtiger 88 versus a defender on the enemy team. Whoa, this probably isn't going to end very well, but somebody this really isn't going to end very well is that Jagdtiger who's just got locked down. And look at that. Zerlink has enough time to be able to shoot the Carnarvon and then shoot the Jagdtiger afterwards before they're able to traverse their tank round and then get themselves into cover. Alright, Zerlink puts one into the Carnarvon, and this Carnarvon seems to be focusing on the IS-3. And it looks like, quite rightly so, as the IS-3 is on significantly less hit points. What are you going to shoot? The Jagdtiger on 1,500, or are you going to focus on the IS-3 that you can remove from the game? But, you know, when you're packing pretty much over 3,000 DPM with a gun rammer on this vehicle, then you're probably going to wish that you didn't actually leave the Jagdtiger at least to be able to catch your flank. And look at this, Zerlink is showing his knowledge about the weak points on the top of a defender here, puts a couple of rounds in, now turns his attention towards the T-34 who's cresting up on the ridge. Will he be able to hit just over? No, he locks him in place. And the Jagdtiger tries to, well actually sorry, the defender tries to ram the Jagdtiger. Doesn't work out very well, as the defender actually takes 68 damage from that ram. And then bounces another shell off the upper hull of the Jagdtiger 88 here. This defender is completely panicking right now, showing you that you can't just be using a more overpowered tank. There is also an aspect of skill in these engagements as well. And there you go, right into the top of the defender. And Zerlink is just going down, swinging right now, up to 5,600 damage and 1,800 tracking and spotting, and puts a round over the ridgeline there into the top of the Panther II turret. Beautiful stuff. Thinking just about how quickly he had to get into cover there before the Su-130 PM or even the artillery was going to be able to shut them down from the side. Just absolutely beautiful work there, Zerlink. As soon as I saw that frantic melee engagement with pixel perfect snipes while adjusting your armor towards the frontal location of the enemy tanks, it's just absolutely beautiful. And I knew I wanted to finally focus a Jagdtiger game on this channel for the first time in a few years. But you know what? It's not over yet. It's still neck and neck right now. Well, not neck and neck anymore for that Super Pershing. In fact, it's doing significantly worse off now. But with an Su-130 PM, UDES, hard tanks to spot, this vehicle about as large and about as awful with regards to its camera rating as it can possibly be. But the Su-130 PM is now caught out in the field on 8 hit points, misses the shell against the back of Zerlink's large profile, and so now, possibly, will Zerlink be able to get round the corner here and finish off the Su-130 PM? No, actually bounces another round, putting up the damage block to 3,800, enough to kill this vehicle 2 times over, but doesn't quite manage to secure the kill. I'm sure Zerlink is trying to pick up his top gun right now. He's fired so much ammunition this game. I mean, this is a huge amount of damage to this for this tank. You know what, if I do 2,000 damage in this vehicle, I'm pretty happy. Zerlink has already done nearly 3.5 times that amount. Let's see what else he's able to achieve in this game, whether he's going to be able to take out this artillery with this Batchat 12T. He looks like he's going to aim rather quickly. He auto-aims, takes a snapshot, doesn't hit the hull armor of the M4043 though. The track's absorbed it, but at least he gets a little bit of tracking bonus on that tier 8 artillery. Always nice to take out artillery. And that artillery was trying to relocate to be able to get a shot around onto Zerlink by the looks of it. Didn't stay in the corner there. Alright, so Su-130 PM versus Jagdtiger 88. Oh, I guess the SU is probably still going to have to fire an armor-piercing round or a heat round here, as the high-explosive round probably isn't going to work. Look at this! Zerlink is now basically taunting the Su-130 PM to take a shot at the front of the tank. Oh, come on. Please. Please, come on, miss it. Miss Zerlink here and allow him to shoot you a couple of times. Or, you know what, just sit there. Just absolutely sit there. You complete and utter spoon and allow the Batchat 12T and the other SU to come round and flank you. Oh well, good job, Zerlink. Look at that. Not even taking damage, not even risking taking damage, baiting the enemy into shooting the thick armor of the Jagdtiger 88 and just allowing his friends to do the flanking. This is all very awesome plays in the Jagdtiger 88, and if there's one thing that I want to highlight, it's how impressive Zerlink was in that situation at realizing, you know what, I'm going to take damage here. It's about how I can just keep my gun as effective as I possibly can throughout the engagement so that I can at least either go down swinging or just do as much as I possibly can before the enemy team picks me up. And that's a mindset that you just have to master in a vehicle like this, because you can't stop the damage coming in this vehicle. It's not like a beautiful hold down vehicle where you can only expose your turret armor and be pretty sure that the enemies aren't going to be able to penetrate it. It's got awful weak points, like the lower plate. Even its upper hull around this part is a bit of an awkward situation because it's very flat on the front of the vehicle. If they get your side armor, the armor isn't very impressive either. You've just got to try and make the most of it by keeping the thick part towards your opponents, try and focus on the right targets, and importantly, situate yourself with your positioning is key. The way he got himself into this corner as quickly as possible to stop the SU from being able to engage him, and also to bait the artillery from a position probably here to try and come out to here to try and get a shot around the corner to try and find Zerlink while he was in this position was just absolutely beautiful. And plays like these allow Zerlink to just smash an absolute result of a post-game aftermath. A Confederate for assisting his team in enabling them to kill 6 tanks, which he damaged. A Steel Wall Medal for blocking 3,830 damage. A High Caliber, just a ridiculous amount of damage to 7,655 in a Jagdtiger 88 in 10 minutes as well. It's just ridiculous. Usually, to be able to do that much damage in a Jagdtiger 88, you've just got a complete and utter bunch of Muppets sitting in the open and you're shooting at them at very long range. This was all close quarters combat, heart in your mouth kind of stuff, which just made it all the more impressive. And a Top Gun as well for 6 kills. That's always impressive when you get both the Confederate and the Top Gun, clearly showing that you've shot at least 12 of the opponents, usually indicating complete domination. And for this, 2,228 base experience points. You know what? If it had been 1,400 and then you added 50% on top of that, that would have been less than that and still enough to get an ace tanker. This was an ace tanker plus about 60 or 70%, or maybe even double what you would need to get to be able to achieve an ace tanker in the Jagdtiger 88. Because this happened during the Christmas event, 287,000 credits profit, not too shabby. So, Zerlink, congratulations to you. Your question is, Jagdtiger 88 good now? In brackets, quickie baby? I just... yeah, if you get into a situation like this and you play as well as you do, Zerlink, I guess it is good. However, mate, maybe I don't have the skill or the patience to be able to achieve like you did in this game. And while the vehicle is clearly in a better position than ever with just a substantial amount of buffs to the tank, as we can see here, the DPM, the penetration on its standard rounds, the aim time, the traverse speed was a massive buff, even the reverse speed and those hit points. Whether you would call the tank good? I think it probably will be if Wargaming ever fix the template system that they have now, because at the moment it mostly meets tier 9 and tier 8 opponents. If this thing ever starts meeting the majority of tier 6 and tier 7 with some tier 8s again, like it used to back in the day, yeah, then it might be very good. Anyway, Zerlink, congratulations to you and thank you so much for uploading your replay on the What Replays website for the community to enjoy, and thank you for putting my name in the title to be able to get my attention. It was a kick butt replay. I thoroughly enjoyed commentating on it, and I hope all of you enjoyed this video as well. If you did, give it a thumbs up, but if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it's released on Sunday, it's time for another World of Tanks Tech Tree Showcase on twitch.tv/QuickieBaby. And this week, 971 of you have voted, and the winner is the, wow, very new player friendly tier 10 Soviet medium tank, the Object 430U, with 50 votes. And so come along right now as I showcase, as I mentioned, probably the first tech tree that I would ever recommend a player to be able to get towards, because the Object 430U is just so well rounded. So you can see if it's a line that's interesting for you, or alternatively, if you already have the tanks, maybe pick up a few tips and tricks along the way. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible right now on twitch.tv/QuickieBaby. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.